What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is your usual weekly reactor hunt video for the First Descendant. I make one of these every Tuesday because every Tuesday there is a weekly reset and they change the missions where different reactor combinations can drop so that they can be target farmed. This video covers from the 24th until the 31st of December, so Merry Christmas by the way if you partake. And how I get this information is basically by creating a list like this. This is every single Descendant currently in the game with what is known as their best in slot reactor. You can also then create from that list one like this, which essentially shows you that certain Descendants use the same reactor combinations. Good example being Esiemo and Lepic, who both use fire and tech, since that is the combination that yields the highest damage for those two Descendants. So using that table, we can then use the system in the game by pressing M and then difficulty level rewards or F on the keyboard to get you to this area here where you can simply put in the combination that you're looking for. Let's go with Esiemo and Lepic, fire and tech, and you can see that there are two areas in the game where you can essentially farm. Now what I do is I will suggest good missions for you to farm that have a higher than usual yield rate of reactors, which means your yield per minute or reactors per minute or reactors per hour will be the best possible that you can have. Coincidentally, we are starting with Esiemo and Lepic this week because there is, as you just saw, a great place where we can farm for them. So if you have Esiemo or Lepic and you're looking for a reactor like this, which is a burning mechanics reactor, which is fire and tech, I have good news for you because you can simply go over to here as I just did, fire and tech, and we can see two areas here. The one I would suggest to you would be converter facility. Converter facility is in Fortress. And there is an outpost here which you can do in what is colloquially known as the Valby method, which essentially means that you take a Valby, you slightly lower the damage so that it still one taps the enemies that spawn but is not strong enough to deal too much damage to the boss if it wanders into your water, and you essentially make circles on the outside ring of the outpost, basically killing all the enemies for the entire 2 minutes and 36 seconds that it takes for you to fail the mission. During that time, you're going to get some character XP, weapon proficiency, gold, Kuiper, and you guessed it, a bunch of reactors. I hope you get some decent Esiemo and Lepic rolls from this place. Next up, for another fire Descendant, we actually have a decent week for Blair as well. It's been a while since we had fantastic place to farm for Blair, so you should definitely jump on this if you are looking for a burning phase reactor, which happens to be fire and dimension. That is Blair's reactor of choice, and if that is what you're looking for this week, I have just the spot for you. If you go to fire here and you go to dimension, you are going to see defense line. Now this also happens to be in Fortress, and this actually features the very first, the OG Valby outpost. So this is where the whole method originated from within those first couple of weeks of the game being released in the preseason. And essentially this can also be done in the previously as explained Valby method. I will, however, just caution or warn you that if you were familiar with this farm before, it is not nearly as good as it used to be. Yes, you will still get weapon proficiency, gold, Kuiper, and character XP and all of that, and reactors, but it's not going to be as sexy as it was before. So just to temper some expectations here, but this is your best shot at farming a decent amount of Blair reactors this week, if that is what you're looking for. Next up, if you're looking for Jayber, Valby, or Gley reactors, this can also be a good week for you to farm. They all three use materialized phase reactors, which is non-attribute dimension. So if you're looking to farm for Jayber, Valby, and Gley this week, good news, we can go over here, we can go to non-attribute, and we can go to dimension. And that is going to spit out an area called Repository. Repository is all the way over in Sterile Land, and Repository has a mission called Kuiper Mine. Now this mission can be easily done by an AoE character. It's one of these where you essentially go in and you trigger the start of the mission, and then you have 7 mines that you need to dismantle by standing inside their zone. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to leave the 7 mines alone and just stick to the middle area here, and you can essentially just kill all the enemies that spawn just outside of this square, and then every couple of minutes you can just dip out and pick everything up, or don't worry, your dog should be doing that for you as well. And you have an entire 5 minutes that you're going to wait for this mission to fail, and during that time you're going to be picking up reactors, weapon proficiency, gold, Kuiper, character XP, fucking weapons, the kitchen sink, everything, and a whole bunch of reactors will hopefully drop for you, and one of them might just be your Christmas present, which is a best in slot reactor for, like I said, either Jayber, Valby, or Gley. Then if you enjoy playing support, or more specifically you want to play Yujin, but you want to play the heal variant of Yujin, so you want to heal all your buddies, everything like that, you want to do some void intercepts and keep everybody else alive, then the reactor that you're looking for is definitely not the one that I have equipped here, but you're looking for non-attribute fusion, which looks like hopefully I have one here. This is not the look I was going for. Here we go, non-attribute fusion. So a reactor like this, materialized mixture, is the perfect in-slot reactor for Yujin if you want to specialize in healing. So if you want this reactor this week, I got a decent spot for you. So that's non-attribute and fusion, and that's gonna give you classified area over here. Classified area is also in the sterile land, and there's a mission here called large nuclear reactor. It says 10 minutes or less, but you'll definitely complete it in a faster time. Essentially, it's one big circle that you have to stand in and capture. During that time, enemies are going to come at you from 3 different angles. Its good news is they are melee enemies, so they're going to run at you, all towards you, pretty much delivering the reactors straight to your hands. So you can just stand in the middle there, blow them away with guns, Kingsguard lands, Bunny, Freyna, or whatever, and just essentially murder all these enemies out, and then rinse repeat by just going out and resetting the mission. Hopefully you can get a decent amount of reactors and the Yujin reactor that you're looking for. Then it also happens to be a good week for Bunny. So Bunny uses Tingling Singularity, which is electric singular, and that's because you want her third ability to hit super hard, and that is electric singular. So if this is the kind of reactor that you're looking for, good news, we have a decent spot to farm for that this week. Electric and singular is going to give us 2 areas. You want Grand Square, and more specifically you want Kingston Surveillance Radar. This is a small little mission that essentially has 5 to 6 packs that spawn in a very small area, and you can kind of like just patrol this area in a circle with Bunny, just kill all the spawns. One last yellow bar also spawns at the end, which you kill, and then you can just hop over the wall and rinse repeat. This is going to give you a decent amount of reactors. The gold Kuiper character XP weapon proficiency ain't that great, but hopefully you don't have to spend too much time here and you can get yourself a decent Bunny reactor. And the hits keep on rolling in. It's also a good week for Freyna. So Freyna is of course definitely one of the more popular descendants, and she's relatively good in pretty much any piece of content that you put her in. The reactor of choice for her is Toxic Mechanics, which is toxic tech. So if you are looking for a decent Freyna reactor this week, I have a suggestion for you where to go look. So we're going to go Toxic Tech. You have 2 areas here. You want Moongrave Basin. Moongrave Basin is over here, and there's a mission here called Water Cooling Recording Device. Essentially, this requires you to capture 2 areas, and you can essentially start this mission and let both sides accumulate a bunch of enemies that you can sort of like dart in between and kill the enemies, pretty much letting the time run out and farming as many reactors as you can from these enemies as they spawn. The good news about this mission is it has a higher than usual mob spawning density than compared to some of the other missions in the area, and so you should be able to rack up quite a bit of reactors here. Hopefully the Toxic Tech one that you're looking for. Keelan, the brand new descendant from season 2, also has a decent spot to farm this week. The thing with him to bear in mind though is 2 of his abilities are singular and 2 of his abilities are fusion. So you might be looking for a toxic fusion reactor, which is definitely not this one that I have equipped here. So you might be looking for something like this. So a toxic mixture reactor will cover 2 of his 4 abilities, toxic fusion. And if that is the reactor that you're looking for this week, I got good news for you. We're going to go to toxic, we're going to go to fusion, and that is going to give us an area called Shipment Base. Shipment Base is in White Knight Gulch, and it has a mission called Fortress Outskirts. Very popular mission from I would say the pre-season of the game, where it was a goated area to go farm. You could make decent XP, weapon proficiency, gold, Kuiper, and reactors from this area. It has since taken like 2 nerfs, so it's not nearly as good as it used to be, but it still is pretty damn great. You basically go into the area, and you capture these 4 plates, and then you just kind of like move in between the 4 plates in a circle, and you just kill all the enemies that spawn. Naturally, over time the circles will complete, and as soon as that's done, don't bother finishing the mission, just quit out, run back down, reset, and go at it again. Hopefully you can get some decent toxic fusion reactors for Keelan from this spot. Then last but not least, the Ice Queen herself. Viessa certainly has seen an upsurge in interest in her, since she's one of the descendants that deals with the new Void Intercept pass with, I would say, relative ease, kind of like making it look easy. So her reactor of choice, if you are playing like cold-bloodedness, is Frozen Mechanics. This is Chill and Tech, and that's because your final ability, your 4th ability, Blizzard, uses Tech to deal damage if you are playing cold-bloodedness. So if you're looking for Chill and Tech for her, really good news. Pretty damn decent spot to farm this week. So Chill and Tech, you have Vermilion Waste. Vermilion Waste is in Agna Desert, and this also has an outpost that can be done in the Valby method. Now, this is a smaller outpost in terms of size from some of the other ones, so you have to be a little bit more careful in terms of like the enemy in the middle wandering into your stream. But you can of course just pause and kind of like pull them back to the middle, or even use your 4th ability to suck them out and just kind of like deposit them back in the middle. This will give you about 2 minutes and 36 seconds to farm the enemies that spawn. You'll get some very decent character XP, weapon proficiency, gold Kuiper, and of course the reactors that you're looking for. And hopefully one of them is a super strong best in slot Chill and Tech reactor. Then this system also allows you to search for external components by their type. So if you are looking for auxiliary power sensor, memory, or processor, because maybe you're trying to build yourself a farm set or something like that, you can also check here. Now, I've already checked these. The only decent one to farm this week would be memory. So if you are looking for a memory component, maybe with some farm stats on or something like that, like additional XP, additional Kuiper, you know, things like that, then Mirage Stone is in Agna Desert, and you guessed it, also has an outpost that can be done in the Valby method. So you can essentially do this outpost here, just swim around, get as many of those memory to drop, because of course instead of the normal reactors dropping, I mean some reactors will still drop, but instead of that being the main drop, these memory components, external components, are actually going to also drop a ton. And hopefully you can get some decent ones there with double gold rolls of the farm stat that you are looking for. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support on the First Descendant content. Like I said before earlier in the video, this drops right before Christmas. So if you partake, Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time with your family. Happy holidays. I'll see you real soon. And as always, fucking cheers.